Welcome to the Coaches Show. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. We're talking about tonight's WCTV football game of the week. We have Independence coach Scott Stidham here. Coach Stidham, appreciate you being here.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having us.
And Coach Stewart, we're going to start calling this the Centennial Coaches Show because this is your third time in 3 weeks.
Thank you for coming today. But thank you. I appreciate you having me on again.
That's good, Coach. I like that. Non-region matchup. This is obviously a big WCS matchup. Coach Stidham, I want to start with you. Congratulations on the big win last week. You're down 17-0 at the half. You break out the big onside kick to start the second half. But let's face it, if you don't get that, now you wouldn't say this, but it's maybe over.
Well,
if you don't recover it, maybe.
Well, we recovered, but then 2 plays later we lost a fumble. But we got a big interception soon after that by Eli Ballman. So, but yeah, I think it helped our kids know and kind of everybody know we're not just here to go through the motions. We're going to play to win.
Well, I know it was exciting for you and your team and that community as well. Coach Stewart, once again, y'all play well last week. You get a big WCS win, 42-0 over Summit. I think a lot of us thought you'd be the favorite in that game, but 42-0. I don't know if we saw that coming.
We just harped on this week being reading your keys, being disciplined, trust what you see, and things like that. And like that, they're a power read option type of team and buck sweep team, things like that. So we just did a good job harping on reading keys, and they executed the plan well. Like we had little to no complaints about them on Friday night on defense, and we just played a full 4-quarter game in the heat. So proud of them.
Speaking of the weather, we talked about this last week on the show, Coach Stidham. I'll start with you. Nice to get to some good weather this week, right? Yeah. After last week.
Yeah, the kids have enjoyed sleeping in. I say sleeping in for school at 7:40. So, yeah, it was tough last week. There were a lot of things that could have distracted us and all the teams. But, yeah, it's nice to have slowly getting closer to football weather.
Coach Stewart, your team, I was at that game. You seem like you handled the weather just fine. Of course, you got up and there was a break that wasn't anticipated, but it seemed like y'all handled it pretty well.
Oh, that's just a testament of my strength and condition coach, Stephon Chambers. He does a good job, get them hydrated, make sure they're working out in a capacity where they don't overextend what they need to do. We train, when we can't go outside, we train them pretty hard in the heat, and just we don't overdo it. And we just make sure they're hydrated, and we try to practice like game-like situations a lot. You know what I mean? We'll turn the clock on and we'll do scenarios and things like that. So we're getting acclimated, not just going through the motions. We just kind of practice what we're preparing for Friday night. So
let's. I love historical stuff. You guys on here probably like, I don't know why he says all this stuff, but I just think it's great. Obviously, Coach Stidham, this is only your second game in this matchup, 1-0, won last year, 17-14 in a region matchup. Coach Stewart, this is your first one. But this dates back to 2005. So Independent.
It's because of me. It's because I've been here.
You don't mention Summit with the Independence
coach.
Coach.
Might have to cut that.
Listen. No. It's good. Look, we're live here. We're going to do it.
Right.
So y'all started playing games basically in 2005. You've played every year, Centennial, during that time. Now, 3 of the matchups were non-district or non-region matchups. Interestingly enough, Coach Stewart, 2015, you play twice. Indy wins big both times, one in the state semifinals. Indy wins the state championship, but it was only Centennials. That was their only 2 losses. So there were two great teams that year. But if you look at history, 15-4 Independence overall, 1-0 in the playoffs. Indy has won 9 straight in this matchup. Coach Stidham again 1-0 in the series. Does any of this history you probably didn't know any of this, did you?
No.
It doesn't matter at all, does it?
No, we do know about 2015, but we didn't know who we won in the semifinals. I know I'm 0-1 against Coach last year because we played East Nashville.
Oh,
so,
that's right. I forgot about that.
He's winning for sure. He owns it. But no, I think it's great to have that history, and because we talk a lot about, we're just coming in as a staff to continue. We don't play at Indy. We play for Indy. And so we're trying to continue the great tradition that's already been there before us.
That's awesome, Coach. Coach Stewart, I'm just wondering with you on this. I mean, Centennial's had some good teams, but I think there's some doors that you want to knock down a little bit. Is that something that you talk about or would talk about with your team now that you know it? Hey, they've beaten us 9 straight times. Does that matter at all, or is that something y'all?
Well, I didn't know that at all, but I'm definitely going to print that out and put it on the door today. I want to print that out and put that on the weight room today. So, but I mean, at the end of the day, man, it's just preparing your guys. Like I said, this week is Indy. Next week it's James Laws. We were going to prepare the same. Anytime it's an in-county rivalry, the kids want to win. I mean, I know everyone wants to win on Fridays, but when it's in-county, those, like I said last week, those guys know each other. They probably hang out sometimes on the weekend. So, I mean, it means a lot to them. So the records and the history of it kind of goes out the window. It's the same preparation.
We'll talk about this. And Coach Stidham, you've had a year to digest it. Coach Stewart, you've had 2 games. And I probably overdo it and overtalk about it. I'm the district AD. I got to talk about it. When we play each other, it's the coolest thing, I think. It doesn't matter region. It doesn't matter at all. When we play one another, it is a big event.
Yeah, absolutely. The atmosphere that we have in all the Williamson County schools, when we play each other, it's second to none. I mean, no one can match what we have. So there's some games, they might have one big game where it's crowded and there's a great atmosphere. Not when we play each other. You know, it's every Friday night. And we've played 2 great teams, we're playing another, and it just keeps going. And it feels like you're in the SEC West a little bit, but I love it. You know, you love playing great people and great atmospheres, and it's a special place for sure.
I'm glad you said that. I used the hashtag one time, means more, for us, and then some dude responded. I looked at the responses. He said, I think that's copyright infringement. Hey, maybe. We're going to pick on us. Coach Stewart, I mean, you can tell, Franklin, obviously, Franklin Centennial, but last week, too, was a great crowd.
Man, anytime you play, like I said, in county, like it's still culture shocking to me and my staff because the crowds are crazy. And like I said, and then we do the game day situations and things like that. It's amazing. But the kids feed off of that. And it's good for the community. It's good for the school. Just when you get your student body to participate and then you got people in the community participating, it means a lot. You know, either way, win, lose, or draw, it's still a great experience for both teams and for myself as well. So I enjoy seeing it, and I'm looking forward to it on Friday. And like I said, it's just something special in this county, so I really enjoy it.
Well, I know, and I appreciate, and both of you guys have already proven this, coaching year over year, and Coach been here just for 2 games. The willingness to do some extra kind of things, Coach Stewart, I saw where our OTL young man, Luke Helton, who was a Centennial student, got on the field there and did a little interview after the game, and you jumped right in with him, which I thought was awesome.
Yep. I mean, it's and I preach this every day. It's bigger than football. You know what I'm saying? You're building a culture. You're building a community, and you got to do whatever you have to do to keep building that. And anytime someone needs an interview, it's different for me, of course. I've never did this many interviews, but it's
like, is this a student asking me for an interview? What's going on here?
So, but he told me he was going to try to find me after the game anyway. But like I said, it's great publicity for the school, the county, the community. So anytime you can get an opportunity to promote your school and promote the county, you got to take advantage of it.
Coach Stidham, and look, I know you're a promoter. I saw those QR codes at the workout that people could take a picture of and it went straight. So you love that promotion stuff too.
Oh, absolutely. We have to market our program, you know, and let these kids be, you know, they work so hard. They deserve to be marketed and get it out there who they are. And we're representing our school, you know, and we need to put a great product out there. We have a great product. We don't have to do anything mad. We're not lying. We're just saying what we actually have and the kind of school we have, and the coaches and faculty. So anytime we can let people know about Indy Nation, we're going to.
It's special. It is. Let's talk about last week's games. We're going to start with Centennial, WCTV Game of the Week. Dominic Reed, Coach Stewart, 4 touchdowns for the 2nd week in a row. This is about as efficient a night as you can get. 8 carries, 70 yards, 4 touchdowns, and then your total offense, 428 to 141. Great offensive stats, not only for Dominic, but your team.
We try to put our guys in the right situation. We move them around. We like what we see. We're not going to defer from it. You know, a lot of people, you know, you make this big play sheet and you're like, you want to see this. We don't do that. We try to go stick with what's successful and get our guys the ball in space or put them in certain formations. And the offensive line has really, really grew up in the last month or so, and they've been successful. And so it allows the running backs, the quarterback, Dom, or whoever's back there to run the ball successfully, also in great protection. So we had a good night as a team. Defense played a great game. To hold a wing T team to under 100 yards, that's very impressive for a team that runs the ball a lot. So, and that's just a testament of them taking the coaching and playing hard for 4 quarters.
Elisha Nieves, we've talked about him a little bit. 6 of 8 passing, 202 yards. Nice game for Kenai Johnson too. 4 receptions, 144 yards, 2 touchdowns. Now I thought this was interesting that both of you have said at different times. I was talking to you earlier. We talked last week, Coach, that if it looks the way you want it, you're going to throw it about 15 times. Is that right, Coach Stewart?
Yes. So
it's not going to be 30.
No, it's never going to be 30.
It's not going to be 2 either.
It's never going to be. So, I mean, we try to get between 15 range, but we was running the ball pretty good. Like I said, we're not going to keep throwing the ball if we don't have to. We have a lot of, and this is probably giving away too much, but it's not too depth. We have a lot of passing concepts that we haven't even scratched the surface on. Because we see, like I said, with certain situations, we like what we see, but sometimes we just say, hey, we can run the ball, get 4 yards, we can do it. But we have little scenarios and little concepts that we can add, and we've practiced and we're very efficient at it, but we just feel like we haven't needed them lately. So he did a good job being efficient on Friday and making the right reads.
Coach Stidham, nice win for your team, 30-27 over Page. And people forget, you beat Page last year too.
We did.
Which was another really good win. You beat a Centennial team that was 8-3 for the season last year, so it's not like it's the first really good win during your tenure. Maeski with the 24-yard field goal to win it. You're down 17-0 at the half. We talked about this a little bit off camera. You recover that onside kick, and listen, I've been around you a little bit. I know how you are. I talk to folks at the school. I know the kids have really responded to you. But I think as a coach sometimes, especially if you're doing something, you're running it the way you're running it this year, that when you win a game like that, maybe it's the, oh yeah, coach is, I really believe in coach now. You know what I mean? It kind of, I thought that when I saw the game and thought that might be one where you go, because here's what I said. Tate and I talked on Monday, because I've been a part of this as a coach. Coach, throw it, Coach. It's 17-0. And then when you win, the same people are going, yes, I knew it. Way to go, Coach. You did it.
Well,
because, a kid down 17-0, they're probably going, Coach, man, let's air it out.
Well, my wife hears that a lot, so I'm sure it's sitting up at the top. But, our kids really didn't panic. We weren't panic at halftime. We'd turn the ball over so much, so we just needed to relax, and we went in at halftime to try to relax and get them to do what we do. We knew if we executed better, we were playing well on defense, so we had to keep doing that, and we needed one big play to kind of get back in there, and it took a couple kids to go do that for us. But no, you believe in what you're doing. Coach believes in what he's done, and it's working really well for him. And if you change, I think so many, our kids nowadays, this generation, their whole lives change all the time. They're on social media, changes day by day. And so they need consistency. And so we have a consistent, right? Monday is Monday, no matter whether we're playing them or whoever. And they understand the process of what it's going to take. And so they believe, I think, in our program and in our coaches. And they don't just pour into them as players, but also as people. 14
yards, I think, at halftime, offensive yards. And then it's not like you beat chopped liver here. I mean, Page, I think a lot of people would say Centennial's in that conversation too. Beach is in that conversation in terms of being a state champion. So you do it against a team that can play.
Yeah, they're really good defense. A lot of our miscues weren't by us, it was by them. I mean, they're really good in all phases, but defensively they were special. You got 2 outside linebackers that are men looking up at you. So so we give them a lot of credit. And then we were fortunate to just kind of kept plugging away and found a way to make enough in the end to give us a chance.
You'd like to have Eric Hazard on your squad,
yeah, I think yeah, no doubt.
That dude's a baller.
No doubt. They're good for sure.
Great young man too. Hey, let's talk a little bit about the region now, Coach Stewart. We've done this a couple weeks. We're going to do it again. You still feel like region-wise, is it kind of shaping up that you know a little bit more? You may not be paying a lot of attention to the other teams. I have said all along, it's you guys and Page. It's Nolensville, Hillsboro, in my opinion, in terms of the strength. Are the teams kind of who you thought they might be, or have you really even looked that much?
I mean, as a coach, and I've been doing it for a while now, you really don't read into that right now because teams start rolling in the middle of the year or make the adjustments in the middle of the year and then later on in the season. So kind of, you look and see the scores on Friday night, but you don't look and say, oh, man, we got it nailed up now. No, it was, like I said, we really focus on Friday. After Friday, we recap Friday and we think about next Friday. So we never really look ahead. Page and Hillsborough and Nolensville is week 6, week 9, and week 11. So, I mean, yeah, I remember them. But as far as looking forward and having my own opinion of them and where they sit, no, not at all. Anything can happen now. No injuries for other programs or anything like that could change the whole program. And so you don't look right about that right now. I really, really focus on Centennial.
Hey, I've been saying this, Coach Stidham. I want to see what you think about this. In 5A, that's the best region in the state, top to bottom. In 6A, you're in the best region, top to bottom, in my opinion. And I know Oakland, I mean, that's a pretty special team. But when you go from top to bottom, your region, in my opinion, is best.
I would agree with that, and I'd agree with his too, because we scrimmaged Hillsborough, so we know what they're doing also. And so we've seen a lot of both of them, both those regions. But yeah, from top to bottom, and there's no week off. When again, and a lot of that goes to the Williamson County teams you got to play. Every week you better strap it up and be ready.
What's and you may not even want to answer this, but what's a successful regular season look like? Is it, hey, we want a home playoff game, we want to make the playoff, or you don't even think about that?
Well, always, first there's 6 of us. You got to get in the top 4 somehow. And there's going to be 2 good teams sitting at home. So you got to get in the top 4. Then your next step is top 2 to get a home playoff game, and then you try to win the regions. I don't care what's going on. You got to start with those goals. And so all these games matter to get us to November so we have a chance starting next week for us.
Coach, now you're not going to say it, but I am, because I'm a WCS guy. It's not going to be Overton.
Well, I haven't seen them, so I'm not going to speak on that.
Coach Stewart, no reaction. You're a Nashville guy, so you can't even react. But it's going to be 4 of us, is what I'm saying. Anyway, just leave it at that. Let's talk. Let's talk about your offenses a little bit. I'm going to start with Coach Stewart. Again, talk about running the ball. I know you talked about this the last couple of weeks, especially late in the game, and I think it's probably a football thing. When you can flex a little bit at the end, and we're going to keep pounding and running the ball. Seems like that's what's happening. Now, again, you didn't try to pour it on once you got up like you did, but. Right. I feel like y'all flexed your muscles a little bit as the game's gone on, especially running the ball. Like, here we come, stop it. Is that accurate?
Yeah, well, I mean, we take pride up front. I told them that wins the game on both sides of the ball up front. And, and I told them late in the game, we got a lead. You don't say you're coasting, but if you're running the ball efficiently in the third and fourth quarter with a lead, you kind of feel good. All we worry about is keep the chains rolling. You know what I mean? And like I said, and we can be more multiple, but I'm a run the ball type of guy. And we got some guys that can stretch the field and go vertical and all kinds of things like that. But like I said, you got to see what best fits your program for that Friday. And then we like what we saw Friday, as far as running the ball. So we kind of stuck with it. And we got multiple guys that we can hand the ball off to and move them around and things of that nature too. So like I said, we put a lot of pressure on the offensive line to be successful, for them to be 5 guys that didn't play last year. They were on the team, but none of them really played last year. So we're just proud of their effort, proud of their growth, and we just, like I said, we want to stick with them and run behind them as much as we can.
Coach Stidham, with your team, and to me this is something you've got to be excited about, not the first part, but what it's going to lead to. We talked about you fumbled the ball a little bit. Some of that is you're running the spread option. Am I saying that right? That's going to happen a little bit till they get used to it. You lost 4 of those, but that's not going to continue to happen once they get used to doing what you're doing. So you've got to be excited about even that second half, how it almost felt like a big growth in half 2 versus the first half.
Yeah, we have turnover. First of all, if we do keep turnover, we won't be one of those in November. I mean, you just can't overcome it. But then second of all, some of the credit has to go to our last 2 opponents. I mean, we played Oakland and Page. Those are pretty good defenses. Sure. We were going against. We're playing another good one this week. And so, that's part of the challenge of what you face again each week. You get somebody good. But execution, so many little things that we can improve on, and we watch film and shown it to them and continue to improve in practice. But we believe it's nothing magical. We don't do anything extravagant. Like Coach said, it starts with the offensive line and then executing what you can do, and we got to win some. A big challenge for us in addition to the offensive line, they're really, really good in space. And so we got to be able to block them on the edge, and that's easier said than done.
Coach Stewart, we talked about your defense, how you had that flying to the ball kind of mentality. You've played well, but could you have envisioned that in the first two games you'd have given up 14 points total?
I wouldn't have said that, no, because like I said, when you're playing Williamson County schools, there's no week off. The score might look a certain way, but you got to play for 4 quarters. Like that Franklin game didn't look like that at first. And then we just, like I said, we were flying to the ball and things like that. But now last week we had to slow it down a little bit and read our keys and be disciplined. And we will as well tonight. So tonight, I mean, when you're going against a triple option team, if you're undisciplined, you're looking in the backfield, it's going to cost you. And we've been harping since Sunday. This is your key, read it, do your job. Because you got 10 other people counting on you to do your job. So anytime you try to do someone else's job, there's going to be a void in the defense, and they do a good job harping on that. So I mean, tonight I hopefully they'll continue the effort in putting Centennial first, not their stats.
Coach Stidham, if you don't shut Page out in the third and fourth quarter, you don't win.
Yeah.
What if you'd announced that at halftime? Hey guys, for us to have a chance to win, they can't score for 2 quarters. That you wouldn't have thought that would have happened.
That wasn't part of the speech. No, sir.
Don't bring me in for the motivational speech.
Yeah, you're out. No, we did play really well defensively. We gave up, I think it was just one explosive play over 15 yards during the game. So thought defense flew around and did some really good things. And again, we played 2 great offenses too, and we're playing another one. I can't say enough about what they have done with both sides of the ball in such a short time. Their offensive line's really good. So we're gonna have to read the same thing, what he said. We've got to read our keys, but we've got to somehow stop big plays because they are so explosive. I mean, Dominic Reed has more touchdowns by himself than we do as a team. So he's really good, but he's not the only one. If you worry about him, they can throw it over your head. They got athletes, but the offensive line, I've been really, really impressed with them up front on both sides of the ball.
Coach Stewart, let's talk a little special teams. Y'all made some plays special team again last week that you had to be pleased with.
No, I mean, when you got a guy that can kick it in the end zone, that's a big help for your defense. When the offense has to start on the 20 every time, I mean, you appreciate that as a defensive coach. Just making the plays that we need to and getting to the football. Like we harp, special teams is not a play off. You know what I mean? It's part of the game. Like when you win special teams, you have a good chance of being successful on Friday night. So just making the key plays on special teams, making the extra points, getting the ball on the end zone on kickoff, that's half the battle, and you're happy to have those options.
Coach Stidham, we talked about the onside kick. You recover that. Obviously, your punters had a couple of great weeks, and your kicker. And I thought, man, this is anything more Wilco than I saw. I think it was your kicker that was up for like Player of the Week.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know what's
welcome
neat?
to WCS.
That's right. That's right. And but Landry Maskey, he's got to be the only combination of this. He's a kicker and plays hockey. We got to be leading America in that. There can't be another one of those. But he played really well. And then Andrew Bingham's been really special punting for us again against 2 great teams. But he's flipped the field a couple times. Our kickers, we have another kicker named Lachlan Barbera. So we use both of them on kickoffs, and they're close to getting in the end zone. The problem is, if we don't get in the end zone, we're kicking it to some really fast dude that we got to tackle.
Right.
So we got to try to keep it away from those guys as much as we can.
It's funny about the kicking game, and Coach Stewart was talking about this, and I was the same way when I moved here. It's so noticeable, the kicking. Like, is this a college game? What's going on here? Look where they're attempting a field goal from.
Yeah.
There was a guy at Hendersonville, Hall, played at Tennessee. Is it Jeff Hall? Is that his name? He was really good, but when you talk about our teams, there's a lot of good kickers and punters.
Yeah.
And they work at it.
Oh, yeah.
They're specialists, and they've got guys they go to. and
Trainers and all that.
It's different, isn't it? It
Well,
really
I mean,
is
like
different.
you kick it in the end zone, then you got to go 80 yards. So I don't know why we practice kick return this week. You know, because tonight we're watch it go overhead in the end zone.
Let's talk about your offenses a little bit, and I know we've mentioned your team as a whole a lot. Let's talk with Coach Stewart first. Talk about some guys that you've been proud of. I mean, you talk about that offensive line as a unit, but who are some guys offensively that have really been like, man, that guy's really doing a good job and stepped up? And I know it's the whole team, and you don't want.
No, I mean it's the whole team, but you got guys like Darrin, Odie, Kenai Johnson, DJ Curls played H-back and tight end for us. He's a force for us. Tanner Lee is Tanner Lee. I mean, so you have a good group of kids that, and the thing about it is we have a younger core that's right behind them, ready. And what I'm saying, certain formations, certain situations, but Elisha stepped up at quarterback. He's been very efficient. That's all I ask: be very efficient, make the right reads. But Kenai's been more of a defensive guy for us. I mean, even though he was a star on offense last year, we're trying to two platoon as much as we can, and we have some good skilled players that we can rotate around. But Kenai and Jaron Odie, they've been doing some things for us to stretch in the field as well.
What about for you guys, Coach Stidham?
Well, I think you start defensively. Justice Duarte is playing linebacker. He was a tight end for us last year and playing really well. Reese Pickering's back, and he was an inside linebacker. We've moved him outside along with Hunter Burton. And then our secondary has a lot of kids back. Luke McNeely plays quarterback, but he was a safety last year, really good for us. And then Braden Needham, who basically never leaves the field in 100 and whatever degree heat we had last week. Ryan Holloway's another one back. So we have some kids that have played a lot. And then Hunter McDuffie and Miles Matheny are both back on our offensive and defensive lines and doing some really good stuff for us. So, and then you got some young kids that are continuing to grow and play, and we hope. Someone said, man, you lost 25 seniors and 10 of them are gone to play college football. Well, we want to lose a lot of seniors every year. When you're a 6A football program with 2,100 kids in your school, you better have a lot of seniors. Yeah. And so that's why we play freshman and JV games, to prepare those kids and get them ready when their time comes.
Yeah, both of you have talked about your younger guys. What about some of your guys defensively, Coach?
Keegan Scruggs, number 5.
You proud of him? He stepped up
big time. He's a force. He does a good job. He's selfless. He'll split a double team instead of trying to fight it, and they get up on his linebacker or whatever the case may be. Our inside linebackers, Cy Langford, Elijah Hawkins, DJ Curl, those 3 guys do a good job reading their keys and getting them lined up. Cody Williamson, our strong safety, has been great. He is the coach on the field. He's a missile to the ball. He helps everyone get aligned. I mean, we got a good core of guys, and Jaden George, cornerback, he does a good job. I mean, we pretty much can lock him up over there by himself and see what he really doesn't. I know this sounds crazy, say he doesn't need help, but I mean, we trust him enough to do what he's supposed to do. So it's a gang of guys. You're just happy to get in there, and they play as a unit.
Coach Stidham, we're going to end with this. Give me an offensive key for your team tonight.
Well, we got to take care of the ball, that's for sure, and avoid negative plays, because when we get behind the chains, it's tough. If we have a -2, -3 yard play, and all of a sudden it's 2nd and 13, it's hard to call plays at that point. So we need to get positive yards early in the drive to allow things, because he knows it's a lot easier to call plays when it's 2nd and 6 than it is 2nd and 12. And so that's going to be important, taking care of the ball, and then just avoiding negative plays the best we can against a really good defense.
Coach Stewart, how about for your team defensively? Give me a defensive key for tonight's matchup.
Tonight's game, we got to stay disciplined. Read your keys. Like I said, spread option offense. They run veer and stuff like that. And if you look in the backfield or you do the wrong job, a dive can go 80 yards. So staying disciplined, putting the team first, and tackling your key when you're supposed to, and playing Centennial football, not self-football.
Let me ask you this, because I meant to ask you this earlier, Coach Stewart. Even though it's different with Summit, what they do offensively and what Coach likes to do offensively, does last week's game help because it's so run-focused?
Oh, it helped because they see the outcome of what happens when you read your keys, and you trust what you see instead of what you think. And because I told them, last week was like a range of 5 of as far as the seriousness of reading your keys. Now this week is a level 10 because when you run triple, when you have a triple option in there, like I said, the wrong step, the wrong tackle, the wrong read, anything can go 80 yards. We just said we kicked the ball in the end zone. First play could be 80 yards, so we don't want that to happen. But they do a good job in their offense, and like I said, we just got to stay disciplined.
Gentlemen, I appreciate you being here, taking time out of your busy schedule. Look forward to tonight's game.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for the Coaches Show. We'll see you next time.